BAT has adopted a multi-category approach which recognises consumers' want and deserve choice. We know combustible products pose serious health risks. The only way to avoid those risks is to not start or to quit smoking. To replace smoking entirely, alternative products need to deliver comparable satisfaction in nicotine delivery, use and sensorial aspects. BAT continues to invest and innovate in 3 new categories: vapor products, tobacco heating products, and modern oral products. All adhere to strict quality standards, undergoing thousands of hours of testing before they reach the consumer. To assess risk, BAT uses a 9-step risk assessment framework. The first 3 steps focus on emissions. Combustion studies analyse whether or not combustion take place in an alternative product that's designed for inhalation. Emission studies measure the identities and levels of toxicants present in the emissions from an alternative product. These are compared with those of a reference cigarette or other comparator products. Toxicological studies assess the possible adverse effects of product emissions on cells. These are also compared to effect of a reference cigarette or other comparative products. These studies may also assess composition, concentration, and possible toxicological effects of products' environmental emissions. The next 3 steps focus on exposure. Use behaviour tests are human studies that examine adult consumer behaviour to help understand how they may use the products. This information helps assess users' exposure to product emissions and also informs the design of laboratory and clinical studies which aim to take account of actual usage patterns. Pharmacokinetic or PK studies are short-term human studies where volunteers have their blood sampled to assess nicotine levels before, during, and after product use. Clinical exposure tests involve testing volunteers who stay in a clinic for a defined period. Some continue to smoke, others switch completely to an alternative product, and a third group quits using tobacco and nicotine entirely. Blood, urine, and/or breath are tested for biomarkers indicating exposure to certain toxicants. The third part of the assessment framework, which includes the final 3 steps, looks at risk. Individual risk studies are medium-term studies lasting from 6 months to a year. They assess whether any toxicant exposure reductions found in short-term studies are maintained over a longer period. They can also assess any changes in biomarkers of biological effect associated with disease pathways known as biomarkers of potential harm. Population risk studies survey a defined population, including smokers, former smokers, and never smokers, to estimate the population-wide effect of introducing a new tobacco or nicotine product. Finally, epidemiological modelling uses available health and consumer behaviour data from previous years to predict the possible public data impact of the introduction of particular alternative products to the market using a variety of assumptions to map out likely scenarios. It is the 9 steps in this risk assessment framework that helps BAT create a robust scientific understanding of its products. Combined with data from other sources, this science forms the weight of evidence underpinning BAT's products and product categories. In the long term, the key to understanding consumer use and public health impact of alternative products is epidemiological data. These are studies that show how often diseases occur in various groups of people and how this changes over time, whether due to regulatory interventions, introductions of new products, or shifts in consumer behaviour. This has to be gathered over an extended period, spanning several decades. Generating and analysing evidence to scientifically substantiate new category products as reduced risk is a key part of BAT's efforts to build a better tomorrow by reducing the health impact of its business. the company aims to have 50 million consumers of its non-combustible products by 2030.